Well, thank you very much.
All right.
This way he can't interrupt you.
That's true.
So you can hear the trucks going by. It's not the quietest outdoor space. So that's why we figured we'd start in the back. We'll go around the front and then we'll go in. If we have time, we could show you a couple of things in the barn because we have some like serious concerns and like one of the floor pieces collapsed. But we also have some of those problems in pieces of the house. So we may be able to get that. And I think what we'll do is I'll turn the camera around so that you can see Ray, and we'll start
show
with
and
that.
tell. Judy will show and I'll tell.
Did I turn it? No.
And I'll just interrupt you.
That's fine.
Please do. Why isn't it turning?
I don't know.
It works though. Both of you, I can see both of you.
Right, but I want to show.
Oh,
Yeah, see, I don't need to be on camera. So this is the back of the house. It's actually, like we said, this is like the back porch, and you can see all of our blue wine bottles that we're collecting. And then that's an attic.
That's the attic of an add-on building.
wow.
It ends up being, there's the main house, there's this add-on building, there's this enclosed porch, there's this that we don't know what it is. I don't know if it was a.
It's just a little closet right now.
Doors that open or could open. I don't know if it was chickens. I don't know.
Outhouse? Is it the outhouse?
I don't think
don't know.
so, because it seems like the doors are like really narrow here.
Yeah.
And there's one on the other side as well. And
On the
there's,
other side is tight to the wall.
Huh.
It's weird.
and there's nothing like on the foundation that would make it look like there would be.
Yeah, no clean out or anything like that.
So,
the door.
well, that's the second part. It's attaching it to this piece of the house.
Yeah.
So there's those little pieces.
Huh.
And this piece was, they said, part of the barn, like it was like part of the sheep farm, I guess.
Sheep shearing, something in here at one point.
Sheep shearing or slaughtering, we're not
Sheep
sure.
shearing or slaughtering, either one. So they would use this door. You can't use that, there's electric that goes around it. So we freed that up at one point. We can get into there, but you have this door, and there are 2 bedrooms upstairs.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice little space, but it has its issues, like this. Now, Judy took some snapshots from underneath, and this
Yeah.
basically sits on a pile of rocks.
It's basically a pile. I went into this hole
When you go into here,
with a flashlight. Maybe I can turn the flashlight on. I'm not sure. Or maybe you can put your flashlight on,
yeah,
right?
let's see that. Let's see if they can do it.
So
Huh.
this floor is totally sagging.
Can't get any of that.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
So you see, it's just on a bed of rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not clear, but you can see that there's light coming through and
Yeah.
that it's a bed of rocks.
Yeah.
And
The-
the floor is totally sagged. So we're afraid to use that space.
No, you're fine with that space. The issue, if the floor bounces, is more that the rocks have fallen down and you need some thin person to crawl under there and stack the rocks up again. But
Well, I was actually thinking about opening up a section of the floor on the inside and
Yeah.
re-supporting things that way.
yeah, you can do that too. And it's a matter of,
using the hole to send through some long lumber
yeah,
and reestablish, make some proper, so if all the beams are running this way,
yeah,
come through like you would with a deck. Few supports, support them up, and then bring the floor back up.
yeah. And usually what happened with casual foundations like this is there was a pile of rocks in the, on each of those floor joists in the center. But over the years, just like the frost has moved your outside foundation around, so too as it moved those supporting rocks around. So, but in almost all cases, the joisting itself is in great shape. It's the sills may be bad, but the joists are fine.
Well, that's awesome to hear because it is a very bouncy and saggy floor, but it does seem to only be in the middle.
Yep, that's why. Now,
So that's awesome to hear.
yeah, and if it has a really nice floor, you wouldn't want to pick the floor up. But if it's
Right.
if it's a junky, if it's plywood, you know, why not?
Right
Well,
now
I'm
it's
thinking
carpet.
If it's old wallboard that we use as slaughterhouse, I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see. We could take the carpet up.
Yeah,
But the windows all seem pretty like secure and we've checked them, they're level.
yep. The other thing is when you have a foundation like this, that's a bunch of basically field stones, it's either a very cheap building or an early one.
Okay.
Because
I think it's
they-
earlier.
yeah, I think it is too, but let's go inside and look.
Yes. Let's go inside and look.
One of the concerns we have too is this door, we can't open.
Oh, I think the camera froze. No. Can you guys see us?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
This door's in the best shape. You see how it's all.
I can't hear you necessarily though.
Is that, yeah, we just might need to replace it.
What is it?
It's a sliding glass door. We'll go around, we opened the front door and we'll come back to this section.
Here.
You want to do this first? You want to go in?
So this is just an enclosed porch also. What the previous owner had done is she had screens for the outside, storm windows for the inside. In the summer, with the storm windows in, it gets like 130 in there. It's crazy. It's an oven. And this is the original house.
Yep.
Yeah, so this, the cape piece is what we were told was moved.
Yep.
Should we go in the front door?
Yeah, we'll go in the front door.
All right, there's
And
one other place
sound
to
is
go.
really sound is gonna be an issue for us out here, close to the road.
The door frame is Greek Revival. The window trim looks to be federal to Greek Revival, but that indicates when things were changed.
Okay, so you said the window trim looks, we couldn't hear you from the truck, sorry.
I'm sorry, the window trim and the door appears door frame appears federal period and Greek Revival, more federal period really. And what you can do about that noise is plant bushes along the
road.
as close to the road as possible, because almost all road noise is tire noise on pavement. And
Yeah.
what happens is noise runs in straight lines. Nice staircase.
So
Yeah.
we have our bicentennial wallpaper.
Yes. Yeah.
Which funny enough,
Now,
I still
I
have-
notice vertical cracks in that wallpaper.
yes.
And when you have vertical cracks in wallpaper like that, it's often because they wallpapered right over the beaded sheathing. So
They actually wallpapered over other wallpaper
Yep,
for a lot of it because it had started to peel
yep.
upstairs, and we have a different wallpaper upstairs.
Yeah.
Now, we would like to be able to make this staircase more functional, but we're not quite sure how,
Well,
because it looks like, so this is what we use as our bedroom.
yep,
And it looks like they had maybe closed something in here at some point.
okay.
And then there's the other side as well. But
I
like,
think what went on here is play down to the floor. I want to see the floorboards. No, they don't show me anything. Actually, they do. The front staircases are generally not original on capes. And I think what you had is you had a rear staircase only, and you had a cupboard next to the fireplace. And then when they put the front staircase in, they just closed the door to the cupboard, and that was the end of that. That's
Okay.
normally what happened.
Huh.
Just like you have a cupboard in here, same thing.
Right.
Yes, this is the under the stairs.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
And,
But it's not
and I would
really.
also think that because you have so much woodwork around, the boarding under the staircase, where the in the front hall, where the all that wallpaper is underneath that. I think there's vertical sheathing boards. That's
Ooh.
what I would test for.
At the very least, here,
Yeah, that's
you can see-
plaster.
yeah. They put in plaster here.
Yeah, yeah, and that molding that you're looking at is about an 1830 molding.
Oh, so that would be maybe when they put the staircase in.
I think so. That's usually when they did it. And if you look at the newel post on the staircase, notice how there's no pegging to it. You see?
No,
It's screwed in place. That's probably an indication that it's a little later.
okay.
And it's
So at the very least, this is. For
Yeah.
now.
So
now-
the staircase is probably from 1830 or so.
Yeah, now, your concern with the staircase is it's too steep?
The rise.
It's very steep, so I guess the Wexlers had put in these hand
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that you could grab it when
Yeah.
you were coming down.
Yeah.
The down's really the problem because you get here and you're like, uh-oh. And you-
Now, if you want to make the staircase safer and want to spend the money, again, if you play down to the floor, yeah, you notice how the staircase stops a full step before the door.
Mhm.
Okay, and if you were to walk through that door, your foot can't land right next to the trim board because it unbalances. Your foot lands about 4 inches in from the door frame. Walk through the door and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, on this side, it's a lot of molding on this.
Yeah, but if you walk through, watch where your foot steps. See what I mean?
Yeah,
So you've got at least one step, maybe two, that you can
That we
bring the
could-
staircase out. And if you do that, this is expensive. But
Yeah.
if you do that, you gain considerably. You may not make code, but come damn close to it. And
Okay.
that's how you do it.
all right. Well, if it's expensive, it's definitely not gonna happen soon, so.
Okay,
so
now,
then we'll just-
while we're in this room, look up at the ceiling.
Ceiling tile.
Yeah. Now, do you want to know what's underneath and how to take it off?
Sure.
Okay. What there is there's a piece of strapping underneath, going the same direction, front to rear, under each of those joints. And that strapping is nailed right through the plaster, usually with 16 penny nails, sometimes 12. And usually it was put on because your ceiling has calcimine paint and was flaking. So if you don't want the look of that, you can take it down, but don't pull the strapping down. You can go two ways. You can put sheetrock up and nobody will
On top
notice.
of the strapping.
Or if you want to look at the original plaster, you want to take a cat's paw and pull the nails through the strapping. Because if you just try to pull the strapping down, the ceiling's going to come with it.
Okay, yeah, in the bedroom, it doesn't have the tile and
Yeah.
it just has paint on it and it
Yeah.
is looking
you know, like it's cracking and stuff.
It's like a little,
Yeah.
a little old.
Now let's look
And then-
closely at the door to the front hall, and so I can date the door for you.
This door?
Yeah, keep it shut. Keep it shut. Now look at the moldings on that. I think, get even closer if you can. Is that, oh, okay. You're in the 18th century. See how that's a thumbnail molding?
Okay.
It's a quarter round, basically.
Yeah.
That disappeared after about 1795, 1800. So your house dates before then.
Wow. So
Yeah,
this
and you can
door
even
may
see-
have,
You can see the pegs in the door.
Yeah, yeah, that's, and you know, that kind of pegging is what you would expect to see on your staircase if it hadn't been altered.
okay,
look-
so that's interesting.
Look at the post. You have a chimney post right next to that door. I'll go the other way, outside
Other way.
wall.
Outside wall.
Yeah, see that post right there?
Yeah.
When you see, on early houses, you have corner posts and then you have a post on either side of the front door. And that's what you have here. Another indication you've got an early house hiding in here.
Okay. So that's pretty cool because we knew that we had the corner posts.
Yep,
And we thought it was because of when they moved the house. We
no,
weren't sure whether they were original or, but so that is original to the house.
yes, exactly. And
Cool.
if the house were really early, pre-revolutionary, those posts may not have originally been cased. They may originally have been exposed. Now you've got a nice big fireplace there.
We
Yeah.
do, with a really ugly 19, I'm gonna say 78, 79. Yeah. So this is when the power goes out, this is our only heat because
Yep.
we have all electric heat,
Yep.
which costs an
And all
absolute
electric.
fortune.
Yep.
One of the reasons why we're back in New York. But you know, we had Evergreen come out and ask about changing, you know, maybe getting like an inset instead of something this large. And we basically have this one, which doesn't look like it was all that pretty, actually. It wasn't like fancy or anything.
That's a nice early fireplace back there. And
Well, wait till you see the other one.
yeah,
So there's this one. And then this is what we are using as our dining room.
yeah,
The one thing we did do is Ray is an electrician, so we did add ceiling lights in here.
yeah,
And we had to, this was here,
yeah,
but it was all stained. All we did was paint it
yeah.
with like
This
heavy
again is
duty
the-
primer.
This is also the ceiling tile. So
Yeah.
behind here is
Yeah.
the strapping and everything else as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've seen that because we had to do some work.
When he
on the
did, yeah,
end.
when he
Yeah.
did the lighting.
Yeah.
But it makes a very nice dining room. And here is our other, this is the, like, must have been the main fireplace, I think.
Yep.
And also here is the sign that used to hang out front. When on mainmemory.com, there's a picture of the 30s with where it was the Farmstead Tea Room.
Yep.
This is the sign that was hanging out front. It obviously needs to be restored or cleaned,
Yep.
but it's both, it faces both ways. It's painted on both sides.
Oh,
So that is just the coolest thing.
Now,
What you might want to do is don't ever put that sign outside again.
Never.
See if you can have it reproduced
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and put the reproduction outside. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be.
now this, there was a wood burning stove here, a
Yep.
shorty.
Yep.
And we took it out. And when I capped this off, I looked inside.
Yep.
So inside here has the two eyelets that would be for the piece of iron that you can swing in and out of the fire.
Yep. Yeah, that's called a crane, and those are called gudgeons.
Gudgeons.
So that's here.
Yep.
What's really neat is we have the beehive oven.
Yep. Yep.
So people are doing all their fancy, pizza ovens in their house.
Yep.
And in the
I'm
meantime,
pretty sure I'm not cooking anything in there.
no, and in the meantime, we have a beehive.
Yep. And you
Oh,
can,
yeah.
you can cook in there. The floor of your bake oven needs to be skimmed over.
Yeah.
If you look up on the top of the door, you'll see a little thumb piece. No,
Yes.
come back. Yeah,
This piece.
that pulls out and that opens the damper. And I suggest
Oh.
you don't pull it out because all
Don't.
kinds of crap will come down.
Okay. All right.
But we cook pizzas in our bake oven. We cook our Christmas and Thanksgiving turkeys in our bake oven.
Really?
Really?
And-
Oh, that would be the coolest thing ever.
And if you look at old recipes, you'll find old recipes often start with a high temperature and then you turn the heat down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are bake oven recipes because that's exactly the kind of heat you have. You essentially build a fire in there, and when all the carbon burns off the brick, it's warm enough. And then what you do is shovel the coals out and into the main fireplace, sweep out the embers if you can, put your turkey or your pizza or whatever in there, close her up. And because it starts at a high heat and the temperature goes down, what happens is in a turkey, it seals the juices in. So you get this delightful turkey every single time.
It's funny that you say that because there's a recipe from New York Times that does that with a roast beef, that you turn your oven on to 500.
Yep.
You leave it in there for 30 minutes and then you turn your oven off and don't open it for 2 hours. And it makes the best roast beef ever every single time.
So that's one of those recipes.
That's awesome.
Bake oven recipe.
So
now I'm interested in your wainscot boards. They're vertical, which is, okay, that's stuff out of the 30s. Your hearth, your hearth is not nearly big enough. Your hearth, and there's cement between the bricks. The early hearths had no cement between the bricks, and the hearth would have extended past the bake oven because you're taking burning coals out of that bake oven. You don't want to drop them on the floor. You don't want to burn the place down.
Well, now if you look here, here's a seam on the floor.
Yep. Yeah, and that's probably an indication of how much further the fireplace went.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Because-
possibly when they moved the house, they had to do some brickwork, and at that point, that's what the
And it was a restaurant. They used these 2 rooms, I believe, as a restaurant, and you can see like the dent in the
Look
floor.
at the wear pattern. Yep.
I know. I that's one of my favorite spots, actually.
Yep.
Even though it's, I mean, the floors are in like bad condition in this room, and they don't look like they were the original wide plank. And there's some spots that like it's cracking and going down
when another seam in here,
Yeah.
like out of nowhere.
It looks like it has insect damage.
Mm.
All those little lines in the surface.
Oh no, those are our
That's
dogs.
a dog. That's a
Oh,
dog.
okay. So,
Those are our crazy dogs
That's
running
okay.
back and
Yeah.
forth and
And-
playing in here.
and
Yeah.
You let the dogs in, they go from that door and they run this way.
This part of the house.
Yeah. Now what
Like
you can
crazy.
do, go back down to that floor again. What you probably have on the floor is urethane. And,
Okay.
and that's a hard finish on a soft flooring. And that's guaranteed to scratch through. If you redo the flooring, consider putting an oil based finish on, because when they scratch, it's real easy to touch up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those floors look too full of too full of knots. And even though old flooring was often narrow, that's even narrower than you'd see.
Yeah.
And in kitchens, which is what the keeping room was, that's the floor that wore out first.
Right.
So it's not surprising. Let's look at the panels over the kitchen fireplace and over the parlor fireplace.
Okay.
What
So
are they just, it looks like flat boards. Is that?
Yeah, flat boards.
Yeah. And something
Yeah.
funny, I'd have to see it in person, but you have a thumbnail molding as if you had raised paneling, but there's no raised paneling there. It's a flat
No.
panel.
Yep.
And I don't know why. So
Yeah, it
that's a
looks
mystery.
like there was something like done here to it, like the
Yeah.
back.
Okay, you know what that cutout in the middle is? That's a cutout for a wood stove. They had the thimble for the wood stove going right through the
Oh,
panel.
okay,
That's what that is.
okay.
And when you have a flat panel with a thumbnail molding, if it's original, that's sometimes an indication that they had a paint decoration on that flat area.
Okay.
Everything from stenciling to a full mural. Now, is it
Wow.
the,
The other one's the same.
is it the same thing in the front room?
It's a little hard to tell because we put our TV up here,
Yeah,
but yes.
it is the same flat panel. Yeah, and there incidentally is a cut there. If they had a thimble for a wood stove through that one too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh well.
And they actually had they had a painting hanging on here because you
Yep.
can see the difference in the
Yep.
color. Oh, so somebody painted over it, which
Yeah.
that's
And you're
unfortunate.
that the mantle you have was put in the about 1900 probably.
Okay.
But interesting in here is you can again see pegging.
Yep. And that's just a dead giveaway that it's old. So
Yeah.
now,
So now
the mystery on this one is whether it was actually moved. And they did move them with chimney stacks intact, but it's hard. This
Mhm.
doorway is later, bathrooms
Yeah.
later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We
they
know
put a
that.
bathroom in here, and then there's our dogs. They're crated. They're not loving it, but
Yeah.
and then this one doesn't have that mantle piece
No.
like that big thing. And it definitely has it's dark in here, but it
Yeah.
definitely has a different.
Yeah.
Different detail.
That's a very nice mantle. It's late Federal and to Greek Revival, and it's a beautiful mantle. It's got a lot of paint on it, so you can't see the decoration,
No, not too much.
but
Little
it's
bit.
nice, you know.
Yeah. So we would love to be able to put, whether it be like propane or at least one of them make it a wood stove.
Yeah.
But we're not sure if that's, I'm
Hey,
gonna walk
before
around.
you go in the front hall,
Yeah.
go back into your bedroom and shut the door, and let's look at the other side of the
Oh.
door.
Okay.
And that's a flat panel door, and that molding is an oval molding from about 1825, and that's the same period, 1825, 1830,
That we
as
said,
as the mantle.
okay, so that makes sense because that would have been around the time that we said they did the stairs
Yep.
and
Yep.
they would have
Yep.
closed this in.
And if the house was moved, my suspicion is it was moved around 1830, not later, because usually when they moved houses later, you lost the center chimney, and you have the center chimney in place. So
Yeah, and it goes
lucky.
like on the second floor, it's around the closets and
Yep.
the hallway is built around it.
Yep.
So
and the other thing to remember on antique center chimneys like this, open fires are much safer than wood stoves. And they are because an open fire does not produce a lot of creosote. Essentially, you don't starve it for oxygen. Creosote is produced when you starve a fire for oxygen. That's what creates the smoke. If you have an open fire with dry hardwoods and aren't trying to put a bonfire in your house, the amount of creosote you get is very, very minimum. And in fact,
so it might be something that we would be able to use.
I would be shocked. You want to make sure that there's no holes in your flues. Like, for instance, where they put those thimbles through for the stoves, they may have closed it off with a piece of tin. Hell, I've seen it closed off with wallpaper. So that would be my only, yes.
Well, but there's also there's no flue in these. I mean, you can see straight down.
Yep, there was no flue liner. Each of them originally, if you have 3 fireplaces in a bake oven, you originally had 4 flues.
Okay.
Sometimes what happened is now let's look up, before you go out here, back up into the front hall again and look up above the door. Let's see how this is now above the door to your living room or dining room. Yeah, there you go. See how that's nicely framed in?
Yes.
And with a nice fat quarter round molding, and that's all
Yep.
mortised together. Just nice work.
Very good. I mean, it's very nice to have this door closed in the winter,
Yeah,
because that front door doesn't have any kind of like, right, and it has an old inexpensive screen door, so it's
Yeah.
not really sealed.
what we've done in cases like that is to put in, or one way you can go is to put in a storm door that's mostly glass.
Mhm.
Full
And,
view.
and that works better if you don't paint your door dark colors. If you paint it dark colors, then you've just created your own roasting pan in there because it heats right up.
Okay.
But if you open that front door in the winter on a sunny day, your solar gain is huge.
Ah, okay.
Glass door.
That's good to know. Yeah, we were thinking a full glass storm door
Yeah,
would
Would be
benefit
nice.
us.
yeah.
full view.
And I don't think you'll ever want to put a screen in there because of the noise from Route 1.
Yes, exactly,
So,
exactly.
so
We
make it
don't even
most,
open the front windows. We'll only open the side windows, and even that's kind of loud,
yeah.
but you get used to it, you know?
What we do in our house is we have exterior storm windows, wooden ones downstairs actually. And then we have our windows 9/6, 8x10. And then we have interior storms. And
Oh,
my wife, Mary, said that I should make screens, and we live on a dead end road. She said I should make screens because in the summer, she'd want all those windows open. In fact, what happens is because with the outside storms and the inside storms, it stays so cool in the house that in 20 years, I've put screens, I think, in 3 windows, maybe
wow,
4.
okay. All right, so you don't need them because it stays
Yeah.
nice.
So, and what kind of heat do you have?
Electric.
Electric baseboard heat. It
Darn.
is 1970s.
Yeah.
Throughout the house, every
Yeah.
room has its own. Ginia Wexler bought the house, she was very much against fossil fuels and very much pro-environment.
Yeah.
So she had everything removed that
Yeah.
was fossil fuel heat.
Yeah.
And
Now, of course, it came from the Mason station, which was fossil fueled. You know, the electricity was generated.
right,
But,
but in the 70s, we didn't
yeah.
know that,
Yeah.
you know?
You might consider heat pumps, and that'd give you some air conditioning too.
Yeah, we have put window air conditioners in the summer, just in the bedrooms, especially upstairs, gets terribly hot.
Yep.
It roasts. But yeah, the heat pumps, the biggest thing with the heat pumps for me is sometimes they look awful.
Well, it's why I was asking if you had what kind of heat you had, because we have warm air heat, and we're going to put in a heat pump, but it's not going to be the hang on your wall look ugly type. It's going to be in a location where you won't see it. And what it will do is use the duct for both warm air in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. And
yeah, I think we had that
well.
at one point, because there are some floor vents.
Yep, there they are. Yep.
But I believe my son came home from college.
Yep.
So
But I think she removed all of the ductwork.
One main.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And so
if
then,
you
so then-
might want to reintroduce those because you can get heat much cheaper that way. You can, what I'm going to be doing, because I have a 98-foot long barn that one side of the roof faces south, it's going to get covered with solar panels. And basically, I'll be able to pull the plug on CMP.
Wow.
And that's,
yeah, we
that's,
were
that's
thinking,
where I want to go.
we have thought about solar.
If you tie
You
it
know,
in with a heat pump, then your costs get reasonable, you know?
Yeah, that's one of the things Ray was talking about. So, we'll have to look at that. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know,
should-
but
You should listen to Ray.
I know he's a smart guy. No, actually, not all the time, but with things like this, he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
So this would have been the
This is the meeting of the houses.
right.
Yeah.
So you could see up there, I don't know
Okay.
whether that's an original thing.
Yeah, those pockets are pockets. It's unusual to have a double set of pockets, and I have no idea why you have a double set. That indicates an outside wall. But
Mhm.
why there's two sets of pockets, I haven't a clue.
Well, I think this would have been the outside wall to the original house. So
Or the outside wall to this building.
yeah, it's like
who knows? Because
when I had to go into the attics, when I added in the lighting
yeah,
for here, I ended up my genius electrician-ness, because it's a full attic up here.
yep,
So I'm in here, I'm drilling down the wall to get into this wall. So I can get
Yep.
the wall. Sure, I'm an electrician.
Mm.
No. I actually took out a wire that feeds an outlet over there.
yep.
Which ties in from here. Crazy enough. And it's all tucked, it's hidden, like behind this board.
Yep.
That's where the wire goes. So I had to make a splicing. But
Yep.
in looking from above, where you see where the two houses, because there's an access into the space over here.
Yep.
It's kind of weird. But I'm able to be here.
Show me that timber directly above your head again, because it's a very interesting one. And what I don't get is, if you look at it, there's two sets of pockets right next to each
Mhm.
other. And that makes no sense at all. And again, you see down a little further, there's another two sets of pockets.
yeah, and then there's bigger pockets over
Yeah.
here.
So, you know what I'm thinking, or I'm wondering? You have some really strange construction in Sullivan. Your historical society house is, the gable end walls are post and beam, but the front and back walls are plank. And I'm wondering if that crazy timber reflects some kind of very different framing. And
So somebody didn't know what they were doing?
they did know what they were doing. They just, welcome to Maine. They didn't do it the way everybody else did.
Okay.
So
Well, the
I'm
Uran
curious
house,
now about your front wall. And is your front wall conventionally framed, or is it weird like your back wall?
And
I'm
that we can't see.
suspecting it's weird.
yeah, like the Uran house.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So, in
So
other
if we
words,
ever take anything down, any of the like the encasing and stuff on the corner posts or anything like that, then maybe we'll be able to see that.
yeah. Well, if you see me in June approaching your house with a Sawzall, you're in trouble.
Oh, gee.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey, listen, Les, we'll be right here. We'll have the video running.
Now look you've got a wonderful cook stove there.
Yes.
Yes.
So this was here. It was again, everything's just
Hot
a
mess.
wreck because the kids have been here for most of the time.
Yep.
Without adults. But this had been converted to kerosene.
Yep.
And
Some of
had
them
been-
started as kerosene. Mine started as kerosene and looks pretty much like that. A little
Yeah.
fancier, but not much.
Well, we love it. We just think it's the coolest thing. I don't, it's just a decoration really and a place to drop our bags.
And what
But
we did was we took out the piping for the kerosene, and what's left works just fine for small chunks of wood. So when,
So in here,
yeah, just took the worst of the kerosene stuff out, and you build a fire in there. It's no big deal. Your pantry is really nice. You got
this.
Nice pantry to the left of your cook stove.
Oh, okay. So we think that this was, we're a little confused because this is like the place, this is our outdoor porch,
Yep.
right? And leads to the screened in porch
Yep.
area. We have this that has the stove in it.
Yep.
We have, again, a disaster of a room. What we use as the laundry room.
Yep.
And the stairs that go up to the full attic that goes across this.
Can we go up there at some point?
Yeah. And then we have our kitchen here.
Yeah. You
So
have
it's
a
like
nice old-fashioned kitchen. I like all your shelving and open.
Oh, we love it.
Drawers below.
We just want to do something with the floor and get a new countertop.
well, one of my ideas, a popular idea,
This is
one of
not
my
happening.
ideas is to
Not
take
happening.
this and set it into the wall.
Yeah.
Even with the shelves on the other side.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
just one of my things.
I don't know.
So one of my pet peeves.
Yeah. What you?
This door
Yeah.
is blocked by this much fridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sightline.
Yeah. What
All right, you want
what you might consider on your floor, if it's solid, is instead of trying to pick it up, particularly because it could well be asbestos tile.
Yeah.
It's 9 by 9, so it might be.
Is to put linoleum or vinyl sheet goods right on top, and that encapsulates it, and you can go.
And it
on.
gives a fresh look.
Yeah.
We could do that thick
That we saw at
vinyl.
Martin's.
at Martin's.
Yes, that's a good idea. You want to go and show the attic?
You know,
No, I'll go up. I don't do the basement. I do attics.
Now look,
No, and
you've
that's
got a
not
corner
really
post behind you. See that? You got a
I
corner
don't know.
post there.
Yeah.
Looks like you have a peg. Reach your hand down. Go down, hand down, 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 down. Is that a peg right there?
Oh,
Looks like a knot that came free.
Okay.
like a
Or it
piece of
could be
broken wood.
A peg for a braced frame, but we'll go up in the attic and we'll look.
Okay.
All right, so this is our cool, funky attic door,
Yep.
and they actually put lights. Now the neat part about the door is they put a counterweight to it.
Yep.
It is hot up here.
It is hot up here.
Not for us.
Not for you.
So back here is an actual weight. That's our counterweight to make the door go easy.
Now
So
you
up in
have-
here,
You have a common rafter system, and you have you have a common, you have principal rafters and smaller rafters, but it's not rafter purlin, so it probably dates the 1830s or a little later. And you can see the saw marks is an up and down sawmill.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I don't see any hewn timber. So my guess is
wait,
1830, 1840 on this one.
see. Now here is our super secret door.
Okay, I won't tell.
This, see if my light works. Yes. Okay, this leads you into the above
Yeah,
the house.
yeah,
So there is the old roof structure
yeah.
and where they joined everything.
Yeah, and now you're into a rafter purlin system. do you notice how your roofing boards go from peak to eaves? If you pulled up one of those shingles, you will find that they used a draw knife to
Okay.
make them, and you'll find one nail per shingle, not two. You're looking at either an 18th or very early 19th century roof shingles, which is pretty cool.
It is. And there's the tub
It's our second floor bathroom.
Yep.
of the bathroom up here. So this is the top of that weird
That weird beam.
Yeah.
that weird beam.
Yep. And I have no idea, other than it was some kind of plank wall, perhaps. You know, it was a load-bearing partition wall.
Okay. Well,
So-
I think so it does sound so far it doesn't sound like it's a 1760 house. Not quite that old.
Well, this is a little bit like saying, I'm not a 1946 human being, but that was the year I was born. And there's
Okay.
been changes over the years, and that's normal.
Right.
So,
And there's so many different pieces to the house. I mean, there's
yeah,
we're on the third well, now we'll go into back to where we started on the outside, and we have some peg chairs here too.
yeah,
that we found.
yeah. That's a nice Windsor chair, bow
Oh,
back.
that's nice.
Yep.
Isn't it? It was being used in the kitchen as an everyday chair.
Yep.
And we decided that we're just not small people.
Yep.
And we shouldn't be sitting on it.
Well, but here's the deal. Those plank seats have been sat on for 200 years.
Yeah.
And they were abused for 200 years. So as long as you don't use them to split wood, you're probably
Yeah.
fine.
And then we have
We
the
figured this is
kiddo.
Yep.
you know, definitely I don't think I'd put anything in here again.
All right. Let's go down.
Again, out of the heat.
Yeah. But what I've done, what we did in our house in a place like this is, instead of insulating from below, we dropped a new set of rafters right on top of the roof and insulated from above.
Hmm.
And that gave us much better insulation.
So
and
you mean
headroom.
up on here?
Yeah, we just put a new set of rafters right on top on the outside
Yep.
and did everything from the outside.
Oh, from the
Huh.
outside. So just like built a second roof.
Yeah. So when you go into our upstairs, it's cool in the summer and warm.
Ah.
What a concept.
Well, that's something to think about, because the roofs obviously always need to be replaced. So the next time we need to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do it if you've just re-roofed. Bad idea.
No.
No, we didn't just remove it. Okay.
Okay, so I came in here earlier. And I left it on knowing that we'd come back here. So this is where we started. There's the blue wine bottles again.
Yep.
Now we do have a newer edition
Yep.
of a 1980s sauna.
So
Um,
the fins were there, huh?
Yes.
Well, we also have a bidet in the bathroom upstairs.
Let's look at that door that you're leaning against. Look closely
This
at
door?
that door. That's got the raised panels, but it
Yes.
doesn't have the thumbnail molding.
Nope.
And
No.
that dates to 1820s, as does that
1820.
front latch is a little later.
Now the backside is flat.
Yeah. And
Yeah, the whole
and
thing.
The reason the panels are raised is to give strength to that panel. If it was thin like that the whole way, it'd just crack.
Ah.
So what happened with the raised panels in the 18th century, they faced into the room because they were considered decorative. And as you got into the 19th century, they got embarrassed by these raised panels. So they put the raised panel on the back.
Okay.
And
Oh.
then around 1830, 35, they made the doors thicker so they could have a flat panel on both sides. Because then if the door
Interesting.
is thicker, the panel can be thicker.
Yeah,
All
this is
right.
probably one of the thicker doors in the house.
Yeah, that's.
Which is good
That's
because this is
that's about
cold.
7/8 to an inch. That's actually a thin door, you know, that's an early one, not as.
So all
early.
the doors are thinner than this.
Yes.
we have the oxen thing there. I think that's what. And then this is another door that would go to the
To the front.
porch.
Yep.
And then this is the back door that we had seen. Now it gets a little dark over here. Yeah, I don't think we need to open that. Don't worry about it. It's got like a hook and eye lock.
This was actually, you can see this was blacksmith made.
Yeah,
I
This
don't
hook.
know if you can see.
yeah,
Here we go.
yeah. I know
Nice
a
and
number
black.
of people who make it easy to break into their house because they don't want the thieves to do too much damage breaking in. Now,
Well-
that's a nice staircase.
Yeah, so this is a very dark spot. This is the area that was like bumped out that
Yep. Yeah,
we don't know what it is. And then they added, where's the light in here?
Oh, so you want.
They added a bathroom here.
yep,
So we have a little clawfoot tub and that actually, that window goes onto the porch.
yep.
And then we have.
Let's look at that door that you just panned by. No, well, let's look at this. All the old. Okay, that's a looks like a Victorian era door to the bathroom. Now,
Okay.
what other doors do we have?
All right, so we have this door here, which is like it almost looks like a barn door. Do you want to get
Yeah,
your?
that's a pretty new door. Look how narrow the boards are.
Yeah. Ray's gonna get his flashlight because there's no light over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That-
those are pretty thin.
that's a new door. Got any other doors for me to
Yep.
look at? That door has age.
This door has age.
Yeah, and
This is the little bump out that you said might have been an outhouse.
yeah, it's the right size. That's what made me.
Yeah, it looks like the floor had linoleum that was painted,
Yep.
but maybe, I mean, look, there is like some like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was an outhouse.
it was an outhouse.
Yeah.
Wait, look. Metal on the floor.
Yeah.
That's the hole.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the half bath. That's the extra half bath. Yes.
Yes.
So the funny thing is that the listing said 3.5 baths in the house,
Yeah,
and we only found 3 bathrooms.
yeah.
So maybe that. So we were like, we're still missing a half bath. We've owned the house for 2.5 years now, and we're still missing a half bath. But maybe that was that. That's funny.
Now,
All right,
that's a heck of
so
a staircase.
This is
going to my bedroom.
this is like one of our favorite parts of the house.
Yeah,
And they redid the electric completely in here
yeah,
in like 2007. So it's definitely like sturdy. This is above that barn piece.
yep.
And it's just adorable. It's hot.
But they did all of this for access to run all the electric through the top.
Yep. So you wouldn't want to crawl up there.
No, not if we didn't have to. But like, I mean, it's just such a great little apartment-like area. I mean, it's
Oh.
little built.
Yeah. Is that drawer dovetailed or is it nailed? Probably nailed.
It's nailed.
Yeah, okay, 1830 or later. Now, is that a
18
blanket rack you just had your hand on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, those are handy things and they can be quite old, pegged together.
And this is
usually.
actually, it has leather hinges.
Yep, it's a nice one. So you just leave that by the road as I drive by in June.
All right, we'll do that. We'll be sure. And then this, we just had this capped, so this has to be removed
Yep,
because the chimney was deteriorating and the insurance company.
yeah,
So yeah, but like this, we figure this is just like a cool space. And then we have, you know, hold that, this little stool that
Yep.
looks ancient. I don't know. It says on the bottom something, but we can't read
Red
it.
top needle point. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it doesn't have the needle point on it anymore.
yep,
That's cool.
yep.
But so now these doors here, do they tell you anything? Since you're a door guy.
And
Yeah, I'm adorable, aren't I?
You are.
Yeah,
This
Stan,
is-
take the camera back from the door. I'm curious how, do you see how the panels, upper panel and lower panel are close to the same size?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
The top is definitely
a little longer, but not
Little
hugely
longer.
Yeah,
a
that
couple
that
inches.
indicates a door generally before about 1840 or 1845. So
Okay.
this is an earlier frame, you know?
Okay. And this, really thin.
Yeah, and it's,
Finger wide.
yeah, and in this case, the panels are flat on both sides, aren't they?
Yes, they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, and a lot of the Victorian era doors, the bottom panel is cracked just because they made it too thin, you know?
Okay. Yeah, these don't look cracked. At least those two don't.
Yeah,
The wallpaper, on the other hand, just seems to be
The wallpaper appears-
sliding off.
yeah. The wallpaper indicates that your building's been moving. That back wallpaper that's see how there's sort of stress lines on it?
Yes.
That generally indicates that there's been a sag, you know?
Okay. Which makes sense since the rocks are the foundation.
Yeah. And if you wanted to, I'd get on the assumption that the floor was originally level, which isn't necessarily true. My L was never level, but on the assumption the floor was originally level, you can take a laser level or a transit and makes, you know, spot the spots in the floor and figure out.
Floor's
Level?
dead on.
It's level?
Yeah,
Cool.
dead on.
Yeah. Well, maybe the rafters are collapsing then.
Oh,
That was a
well, that
joke.
sounds good. That sounds better. That sounds better. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so this is just a cool summer only place
Yeah.
because there's, although we figured we could put a heat pump or something back here, which would make it usable for the winter.
Yeah.
And if we did like you were talking about with the insulated
Yeah.
new rafters, if we have to do a roof, which we do on this part,
Yeah.
that would work.
And the reason we did that is just what you're seeing in this space. If you tried to insulate down, it would be an upstairs for midgets.
Yes.
So if you
Right,
do it on-
and there, we do have some spaces that, you know, it's good, we're not very tall people.
Yep.
Okay, and now this is the yellow carpet, sagging slaughterhouse,
Yeah.
or,
Here's the floor.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so pick up the carpet, see what's
Yeah.
underneath.
you
It's
need your light
junk.
though. Yeah, there's actually a piece, because we moved a,
Cabinet.
yeah, we moved a bookshelf here. No, just wood, not
Yeah.
too wide planks.
It's not hugely old, but it
No.
looks to be in good shape.
Yeah,
So,
if we take,
you know,
so
the
then that,
issue is if you take a bunch of the floor up, you got to put it back down again, you know,
Right.
it can get expensive.
So it might make more sense to do like you said and have somebody build up the rocks.
Hire a midget.
Hire them. Yeah. Look, child labor. We'll get little kids. Please don't bounce
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
though. It is very bouncy. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like a trampoline kind of thing.
And it is because for something to be structural, you have to have a 3-point loading system on both ends and in the middle. If you just have it on the ends, then it's structurally it's sound, but it will bounce unless you have a huge timber. It just, you know, and that's why that middle support, because if you have a middle support and you put weight on one side of that middle support, it pushes up the floor on the other side. So it's naturally stiffer. That's
Okay.
why it's done that way.
And then this would be the corner where you said that it looked like there might be something, you know, happening, that
Yeah.
there was some shifting. And like, I feel like that might
Yeah,
indicate the same thing.
yeah, just a little bit, but it's not anything I get excited about.
Okay. Good, good.
The
Because
real
this,
issue is without a solid foundation, you are basically a host to a lot of creatures in the winter who live
yeah,
under your building.
so in November, my dogs, both of our dogs met with my son, met a porcupine on their walk.
Yep.
And yeah, we spent the night at the emergency animal hospital with
Yep.
them both getting surgery to have porcupine quills removed. So
Yep.
yeah, but this is a space where I would love to see like a little business.
Yep.
You know, these doors here are, I don't know if you, because it looks like my camera froze on my end.
Yep.
But these doors, those sliding glass doors would be a nice entryway for like a little store.
Yep.
Or I don't know how to open them here.
If you're going to use it in the winter, the floor is going to be pretty cold unless you close that off.
Oh, okay.
And to keep the animals from living under there, I have a blowgun that I put whatchamacallit, mothballs in. I blow mothballs underneath.
Really?
Oh, okay.
And that keeps the animals from nesting in there. The cheapest way to close it off is sometimes what we'll do is we'll take pressure treated plywood and bury it in the earth and just cover
Okay.
it right over the stone.
Interesting.
And
So
you
cover-
detail it so with siding so you can't really see it's been done.
Right.
Other than that, you're talking about a real frost wall and foundation, which is expensive. That's an old
Yeah.
desk, isn't it?
It is an old desk, yes. I don't know how old. I don't see any pegs.
No, that's an 18th or early 19th century desk.
So you know, we feel like we have like
they're dovetailed joints. There it is.
Yeah. But it does. I can't read what it says, but
But what's interesting in the bottom of the drawers, these are actually beveled panels.
Yep, exactly. For strength. And
Yep.
you can see they're dovetailed together. And those brasses you have on there are original.
oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Well, let's go for here.
So again, along with that blanket rack, leave it out in June. Leave it out on your front. And
All right. I'll give you my Venmo. I'll give you my Venmo, Les.
Okay. Well, put the top back down again. What? Yeah. What you have is you have a well that opens up right there. Yep.
Is that where the money's hidden? No. Oh, too bad.
And that feature tends to make it an early 18th century desk. So 1740, you got an old one.
So if we want to put in solar, we'll have to sell the desk.
Now,
and
well,
some of the other things.
here's the good news and bad news. You know, today antiques are affordable.
I know.
Yeah.
We watch Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah,
And Ray's parents owned an antique store when he was a kid. And we realized, one, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
And two, we're never going to get wealthy off of.
need
Now,
wealthy
here's
antique.
another.
but you
Another
get to live in
interesting-
Washington County. You're already wealthy. Now, the base on that desk, I think, has been changed.
Oh,
bottom
the
of it.
base.
Keep going down. It's very high legs. Those legs
Yeah.
look like they're 1840s. And if it's originally, that desk probably had ball feet. See how different that, no,
Oh,
I'll take that back. The gable end, no, look at the end. No, it is. Okay, this is a regional desk. This is,
Oh,
forget
it's another
what,
Odd Sullivan
forget
thing.
what I said about it being 1740. It's probably 1820, but it's quirky Washington County or some special place. It's just not the normal desk at all.
Okay.
That's a
Well,
good one.
quirky's good.
Yeah, yes.
I feel like quirky makes things, we like quirky.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we told you that at the beginning of our call today.
Where'd you
And
get
then
the desk?
There, wait, what?
Where did you get the desk?
Oh, no, we bought everything
It was here.
here.
Okay, so
We-
that's what you're looking at is a Washington County desk, almost certainly. In other words,
Yeah,
you're talking about regional furniture. And
Yeah, we
just
bought the
like-
house with all the contents in it, and we've added some stuff to this back room because we moved our own stuff in, so we kind of piled things back here, but this was here. And all the books,
Yep.
All of this.
all the books, the
We-
drawers were empty, the
This is
safe
the
was empty, and there's the top here too. I don't know if that's a top of some desk.
I don't think that's old.
Okay.
But what I'm interested in is you had local furniture makers, and that desk is almost certainly a local furniture maker. And what you want to do is look around and see if there's other examples in the area.
Oh, and maybe see if there was a marking or something somewhere if we,
Yeah, there may be on the back in chalk, or maybe on the bottom of the drawers sometimes in chalk.
okay.
There'll be a signature, and mostly they're unreadable, but there you go.
Yeah, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, because I'm not necessarily holding, this floor would
Yep.
definitely not be level.
Yep.
It's probably about 6-inch slope or so.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a level. And then we have another old little chest here.
I think that's early too. I think that's early. It's got a nice bracket base. Should have dovetailed.
Yep.
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 But dovetail and nails in it now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you said, yeah, I don't know what's in
Early
there.
My
American
teeth
design.
were originally one thing, but there's been some additions.
Look, treasure.
There's treasure everywhere in
Yep.
this house.
Everywhere you go to treasure, there's no money.
No money. No. In fact, when we closed on the house, they told us about the safe,
Yep.
and we did our own little and we have a lot of keys.
Yep.
But we did our own little Geraldo Rivera reveal.
Yep.
And what we found in there was this safe, which does not open. They don't know where the key is or the combination to it, but we're pretty sure it's empty. So, you hope, but we do have lots of old books and here is, so this was her Ginia's husband's desk.
Mhm.
And there's all sorts of things in here from her, and they have like old pictures of
Yep.
some of the the business things that they did. We have that Ginia was invited to the Obama and Biden inaugural committee back in 2009, and all sorts of cool letters from her. So yeah, it's just some interesting, interesting things, and signatures of people that visited. And so, I mean, we just love going through this, and even my sons come love going through the books.
Yeah.
But I am so happy to hear about the floor here,
Yep.
that it's okay, because that was like a significant
Well,
concern for us.
again, think about it. You have wells because underneath the ground you have groundwater. But
Right.
groundwater, unless you're standing in a pond, isn't at ground level, it's below ground level. And so
Right.
as you dig down, you're more and more apt to find groundwater. And so your cellar is generally much more of a problem for dampness than crawl spaces.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you want to see the cellar quick?
Yes, I do.
I know you like those things.
Or
He's gonna
slow.
grab it.
Slow is good too.
What is good too?
Slowly seeing the cellar.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time in the cellar learning lots of stuff.
Okay. Well, they did a lot of work in the cellar at some point. One whole side, it looks like it was completely rebuilt with modern cinder block,
Yep.
and but then the other side has just holes and rocks.
Yep.
And I have gone down in the cellar because the sump pump wasn't working at one point,
Yep.
and the water wasn't working at one point, and I was living by myself here for a while, and I needed to get water for a shower, so I had to go down. So this one isn't.
It's a really good idea to have an interior access to your cellar.
Yeah, we like that.
Because if you're living here year round and it's in the middle of a rainstorm or a snowstorm or an ice storm, you're not going to want to try to get down that cellar entrance.
If you want to go like way in, I'll let you take it.
Okay. You
yeah.
have already got something very interesting, and that is your chimney base is just part of the foundation
Yes.
of the building.
Yep.
And that tends to be the earlier buildings.
So,
And your floor
let's
joists.
see here. So when you come down, you can see where they tied block
Yep.
into the stone.
Yep. And
Right.
what are the, it looks like a lot of your floor joists have been replaced.
Yes, they have done either sisted up or gone underneath
Yeah.
with old,
Yeah.
So
You've
heavy
got a
lumber.
wet cellar. Because I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
see, I don't see any, these are modern timbers, they look like, but
Yep.
the timbers sitting on top of the stone look original.
Yes, this one up here.
Yeah, yeah. Is that
Those.
hewn? Those should be hewn timbers.
They look hewn.
Yep. Those rocks are out of there because somebody probably attempted to get into that area.
They did. When they were doing electrical work,
Yep.
they opened this up
Yep,
to get in there to go into the crawl space.
yep.
And now there's things living.
So we have that there. We do have, there is a bit of a natural spring in here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Not a good sign.
Not a good sign. So we have a hokey doke dry well
Yep,
to pull it out.
yep.
And it used to go, okay, so here's the dirty dickie. There's this pipe.
Yeah,
I said, oh, you can see the channel in the
Yeah.
floor.
yeah,
They said, you just take the hose and you put it in the pipe. Yeah,
Yep.
well, you know what? That doesn't work so well. And water comes back out from it.
What my guess is that that was done before they did some work on Route 1. And when they rebuilt Route 1, they probably cut off your gravity drain.
Yeah.
At least that's often what happened. And when we're trying to reestablish those gravity drains, we generally try to find out where they came out, and we work the hose back from the outside, because if you do it from the inside, you can fill your basement up with water in short order.
Yeah. So what I chose to do is you don't like the thing anymore? No. Judy got creeped out. She's gone. All right. So I had the hose come up here.
Yep.
And I have it go out through the wall.
Yep.
And I from the house. I go about 80 feet away from the house on a slope.
Yeah. If you ever have earth moving equipment and you've got a spot that's not too far from the house where the surface ground level is lower than the floor of the basement, then establish a gravity drain again, because gravity works without electricity. It's great.
Yes. Well, what I'd like to do is take that thing that's there
Yep.
and move it over to here,
Yep.
because the water seems to originate here.
Yep.
So I'd like to break it open, put a proper sump in here,
Yep.
and then pump it out.
Yeah. The other thing that happens is often a lot of this water comes right off your roof and into the cellar. And so
Well,
one of the
we
things,
get it in the driest summer too.
do you? Okay, well then you may well have a spring in your cellar.
Yeah.
But you also want to make sure that your gutters actually are bringing water away from the house. And if they're not doing that, we'll have a discussion about what else you can do to keep water from coming off the roof and straight into your cellar, because that's 95% of the time, that's the issue.
Okay. Yeah, we know we have a gutter in the front of the house. It doesn't bring it too far away.
Yeah.
And the rest of them do not have anything.
Yeah, and in looking at your gutters in the back, I saw rust drips in the bottoms, which means at least in the past they've been clogged and water's come right over the top.
Yep.
And
Yeah, they're old metal gutters,
Yeah.
and they're shallow.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of, they really don't do a lot of volume. So if it gets a heavy rain, it just
Yeah.
comes over the top anyway.
Yeah, and what we'll do with some of those gutters is we'll instead of, usually where they clog is at the downspout, and so just beyond the downspout there's an end cap. We'll knock the end cap off, so when water clogs at the downspout, it just
goes
shoots
over.
out the end.
Yeah.
Problem solved. At least it's not going to get into the cellar then.
Yeah, true.
So
this brickwork here,
yep.
this is the in our dining room. That's the main hearth.
Yep.
That was, maybe changed in shape.
Yeah.
So this is that brickwork that was carried down on top of here. So we don't know when that was done, but at some point they did decide to shore it up.
The disappointing thing is, I think you had a bigger hearth there, but there's been so many changes in your cellar that you can't really tell where it was.
No, because over here, this would be the end. Right here. So over here goes to the, to the inside.
Yeah, that's where the
Here
bake
would be-
oven is, isn't it?
It would be probably right above this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So things have been changed considerably.
Yeah.
And in looking at this chimney base, now it wouldn't surprise me that it may have started its life somewhere else and been moved here. The brickwork is lime mortar. I'm guessing that work was done 1830, somewhere in there. So
Okay.
we're seeing enough changes right around that period that would be my guess of when the building was moved. But they moved it with the chimney base, which is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
because
they
most
moved
of
it
it's
with the
here, but they had
fireplaces. Yeah, they
Yep.
didn't move it with the chimney base. Chimney base is 1830, but those fireplaces are earlier. So
Yeah.
impressive work.
So, through here, that's the crawl space goes around that spot where
Yep.
all the rocks were moved,
Yep,
would lead you to that space back there.
yep,
Not that that helps anything. The way the wall is tied in here is kind of odd because there's a gap.
yep,
Don't know what that is, but that's the old foundation.
yep.
And then they did this.
That almost looks like they had a cistern.
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah, because the cistern was
That would
usually
make
separate
sense.
from the outside walls, and it looks and it's all stuccoed over. So I
Yeah.
think they had a cistern.
That would make sense.
That would make
because it
sense.
was originally fed by the spring.
Oh yes, the spring that feeds the cottage.
Yep,
I had told you that there's a galvanized pipe that goes
Yep.
from the cottage down to here.
yep,
That probably fed the system.
yes, yep.
Oh boy.
And what cisterns were for is, it's easy to push water. It's hard to pull water up a slope. And so the old hand pumps went up about 8 feet, so if you had a cistern right below the kitchen, then you could pump water
Yeah.
up into your sink. And so,
And you see where some of the plumbing is,
yeah,
because there is evidence of a small sink right above this.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
It's not there anymore, but you can
Yep.
see the remnants of the piping.
Yeah, and the sink probably had the drain went right through the wall to the outside. This,
No. It's right here.
No, but I'm saying
Oh,
originally
at some point before.
the sink just exited through the wall, and then your cast iron plumbing came in 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah. Well, so we have this down here. It's another chimney. This is the chimney that goes for
Yep.
the nice stove that you have.
Yep.
And in here, this is now under. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I don't have any. Let me see if I get some light. In here, this is under our laundry room
Yep.
and the kitchen.
Yep.
So it's kind of dark,
Yep.
but you can get the idea.
Yeah. and
This pipe,
you can
that's
see
the pipe.
those middle. You can see those middle posts that they put in this section.
You see what? I'm sorry, I got
Those
cut off.
those stone piers they put in the middle of the building, so
Yeah.
the floor wouldn't be bouncy.
Yep.
That's why they're there, because you can't just do it from the outside walls.
No. I mean, they broke down some other stuff that's
Yeah.
here. Don't know what this is, but
Yeah, and here's the good news and bad news about a basement: nobody ever cleans up.
no. I mean, this is just giant. I don't know. It's like you can see there's an actual outside wall,
Yeah,
but then all this in the inside was just like, okay, we're good.
yeah, and
And they
some
left
some pretty casual wiring.
Oh yeah, well they had some alarm wiring. Yeah, this wiring here is super casual.
Yeah,
Super.
Yeah.
This pipe that's here
yeah,
is actually, they used to, again, now when they had the well here,
yeah.
they were trying to back feed up to the cottage. So that's this. It
Yeah,
doesn't go anywhere,
yeah,
but I want to actually take the union, split the union and break it free
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
done with it.
yeah,
But from a 3/4 inch pipe, they're asking a lot out of that 3/4 inch pipe to fill that, 1.5 black.
yeah, yeah. And those stone piers, you can see the drill marks on the stone.
Really?
See they're parts of cylinders.
Oh yeah. I see it.
Yeah.
Now I see it.
So that stone is wedge granite disappeared in favor of drilled granite around 1830. So we're seeing that 1830 suspect date.
Yeah, it keeps coming back around.
Yeah. So that's probably while the building was moved. But you've got at least one 18th century door. So the stories that you heard about the house being somewhere else and being Revolutionary era are probably correct. And then it
Okay.
was moved. And my guess is that it was moved in the 1830s. And what happened about that time in a lot of Maine is they started abandoning the farmsteads. And if the buildings were in good condition, they just moved them across the countryside to the places nearer other people. You know, the hill farms disappeared.
All right. So, so that was our icky basement. Yeah,
Your
I'm not.
your standards are too high. Your icky basement isn't
I-
that icky.
This is where my Long Island girl shows, and you know, my oldest house was from like 1970. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we could do a whole nother class on the barns.
Let's do that because it's 5:30 now. And
Yeah,
on the barn, we're going to do another hour and that's going to be too long.
I agree. So, so we'll happily pay for a third class so that we can do the barns, because this is like amazing and fun, and
Yep.
I just feel like we're learning so much about, you know, property that we love.
Yep.
Um,
And maybe we can get some summer people involved with this too. That would be my hope. And the barn's an English style barn. And what it looks like is it looks like it started out as a 30 by 40 barn, and then they added another barn on the end of it. So
yeah,
it's a-
it looks like they've added a few
yeah, yeah.
pieces.
Yep.
And also, let me turn my camera back around. Also, like, I think we probably could get some people interested in the summer,
Yep.
some people in the barn. Mainly because so many people that we spoke to when we first bought it, they're like, "You bought the Farmstead Barn?
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do with the barns?" Everybody was very interested in it.
Yeah,
So, you know, maybe we could do that, and
yeah.
maybe we could, yeah. I mean, I don't know how safe it is to let actual people come, but this way they could.
Maine doesn't have many actual people.
Oh, that's true. I think that's why I like it so much.
And the other thing about your barn is it sets right on the ground. So you don't have far to fall if you're on the ground level.
Which is true. We did fall.
Yeah.
We did.
Well, there is from
We did.
the floor
Yeah,
to ground level.
That's
It's
about
it's,
3
it's,
or 4 feet.
it's about 3 feet.
yeah. So
We had just moved an oven into one part of, you know, because mice had moved into it, so we just
Yep.
moved the oven out to the barn.
Yep.
And then we were going and getting something else, and yeah, we fell. The whole floor just fell.
And,
Yeah.
and it felt like jigsaw puzzle because the way the floor was all together, it just went like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the boards aren't even nailed. They were just laying in place.
yeah, that's normal for barns because
Yeah.
because flooring, it was an adaptable structure. They moved the flooring around as they needed to. There's barns that you walk in a barn like that, and one side, you know, you have the central threshing floor, and on one side, they never even had floor joists. It just went to dirt. And
And so did we.
yeah. But I don't see any limping, so you're okay.
Yeah, we were
No.
okay. We first, like, it was like a little bit of a scream.
Yep.
And then, you know, made sure that the oven didn't roll over onto us. And then we just laughed
Yeah.
hysterically because it was funny.
Yeah.
And then we were like, all right, well, we're okay. So let's get
Welcome
back
to
to work.
Maine.
So when are we going to get to see DJ's house?
DJ's muted.
DJ's muted there.
We have no plans for that, but thanks for thinking of us.
Well, I'm looking at pieces of it right now.
Yeah. It's a lot like yours, Judy. It is actually built in the 1830s, not moved from somewhere. So a lot of the same things are in my house that are in yours.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's an experience, and I have to say, like, the learning the history of it and having Les with his expertise be able to look at things and help us, put some dates to the stories.
Yep.
Is just amazing. And so we would love if you ever did decide to show us anything. We would be happy, even if it was just pictures, even if you just did like a
Slideshow.
history photo history or something.
The other thing I want to do is, my memory is, if you go beyond your barn on that little road, you go up to a pretty nice house that was let to fall apart quite a lot and is still there, don't you?
Blueberry Cottage?
Oh, it was the house that was for sale for years that was involved in a bitter divorce.
Oh, that's, yeah, that was the
John
spring
Snoke's
house.
place.
Yeah. And it was just falling apart because all they want to do is fight with each other. So when I was teaching real estate agents, it had been for sale for 10 years. We always used that house.
Wow.
So I'd
Yeah.
like to see if they fixed it up, what's happened, because it was a nice house. It was a
Yeah,
bad
we
divorce.
met the Snokes. We
Yeah.
have not been to their house, but
Yeah,
They've had a lot of work done.
yeah.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work. Now, see, at one time, Mrs. Spring owned both these places.
Yep,
Dawn's house, which is the house Les is referring to,
yep,
and the farmstead, the barn, the Blueberry Cottage showed
Yep.
the whole. And when they did, they ran a tea house there too.
yep. Well, if you
Well-
see the Snopes, tell them that I'm very happy that finally somebody was paying attention to that building, because it was so sad going through it.
Oh, right. Now, did anybody send you Dawn's article on the history of the house, Les?
I know I haven't seen that.
Okay, I'm making a note of that because he really wrote it up very well.
Oh, good.
And,
Now, Raina- oh, sorry, go ahead, Jean.
no, that's okay. I'll email that down. I wanted to be sure to thank Judy and Ray. This was really interesting today.
It's
I mean-
I feel like it's a gift that you guys are sharing, letting us share with you and
Oh, I
learning,
think it's
because
just super. And I've been in the house, but somehow going through a house the way we just did with, the camera on different things, checking here, is it dovetailed? Look at it. Boy, it's great.
Yeah.
Really neat.
yeah, we've loved this. Raina, you said you had found some pictures from the 30s. Do you have any of those that you could show quickly?
Yeah, I have a couple. I'll pull them up. Can we see them?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Let me-
Uh-huh. Yeah. Look at the maple trees. They were just young then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a third one that just the stump is left.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. And they had a little fence. This is the one I have
Oh.
seen.
Oh, with that fence around the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can
Ah.
see the sign. If you look,
Yep,
the sign is hanging like near that front door.
yep.
And
So
that's the
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would love to add the window boxes back. Oh, wow. Very
Yeah,
cool.
that looks lovely with the window boxes right there.
Oh, look at that.
Look at
Yeah,
the
people are in
buttons.
Well, centerpieces in there.
I've never seen that. Look,
Wow.
and they have all the
Beautiful.
doors open.
1941.
But the doors opened differently in the barn. A little bit, looks
A
like.
little, no, not really.
Wow.
That's so cool.
It
And look, no
is.
trees.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
no trees. Like you
No.
can just see
It was straight
You
through.
know, it was just open.
Yep.
So
I can
Thank you
send
for
you
those.
those.
Cool.
Those
So,
are neat, Raina. That's
Yeah.
good.
Thank you, Raina.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll send
thank
you
you.
them.
so figure out when you'd like to do a barn showing.
Okay.
We'll do that next.
Okay.
Okay. And send us your other classes too, so that,
I will.
you know, we
As soon
can,
as
we
I
can
get
do
off
that.
this, I'll send the class schedule and names to Raina, and she can share it.
Okay. And then, you know, Jean, and maybe Raina too, maybe we want to meet and talk about what we can do to schedule a summer tour and how we
Mhm.
might want to get people interested in it. And, you know, I don't know, like, you know, even if it's just like $1 donation or $5 donation or something like that, like if you could use it as a fundraiser or something.
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea to get together and really just
Yeah.
talk about that and put our ideas in so that we can make something work. Yeah.
I think that would be fun, and we would totally yeah, that would be amazing. So maybe we can talk about that next week. We're heading back
Oh,
to New York
right.
in the morning,
In the morning.
early.
Well,
Did you-
because I had to get to New York in the morning so I can go to work at night.
Yeah, he works overnight, so we
Well,
push
I
it a little bit.
noticed you got a little of the grass cut, huh? Right?
Just a
Yeah, a
little.
little. I'm gonna go cut the rest of it. But yeah, Mavis sent me an email saying, grass is starting to get long.
So you
But
go
yeah,
cut your
so
grass and
he's gonna cut the grass while I cook dinner, and we'll be up. You know, we're gonna try and come up as often as we can, and
I don't need much of an excuse to come.
Good.
all right. Well, thank you so
Thanks.
much, and thank you, Les, for all sharing all of your knowledge, and
you're welcome.
it's just it's so much fun. So
Yeah.
we'll talk to you soon.
It is for me too. And if you ever want to
Great.
stop at my place on the way down to New York or the way back, please do.
I think we will need to do that,
We'll have to
definitely.
kill the dogs first.
Oh, well,
No,
Thank
I
you
like
so
dogs.
much for sharing your home.
You got to understand, I grew up, I have 4 brothers. We each had a dog, 5 dogs in our place. You haven't seen anything.
no, I don't want to see that.
They're all dead now, so it's okay.
All right.
Good.
Take care.
Thanks,
everybody,
guys.
and
Take care.
Thank you.